So this is a new series, although it's really following on from last week, but I'm calling it The Character of God. And today we're going to look at the fact that God is self-sufficient. In Acts 17:24-25, we read that Paul was speaking to the intellectuals in Athens, and he says this: "The God who made the world and everything in it is the Lord of heaven and earth, and does not live in temples made by hands. He is not served by human hands as if he needed anything, because he himself gives all men life and breath and everything else." God is completely independent of creation. The first words of the Bible are, "In the beginning, God." So God existed and nothing else. He's self-sufficient, in need of nothing. Now, probably a lot of us were taught as children that God created us because he needed someone to love. But God is love. Therefore, he didn't need anything to fulfill that love. But he did create us as an expression of his love. The bold fact is that God does not need us. Now, that might sound a little bit cold, like God doesn't really care. But actually, the fact that he doesn't need us is great news. Because if God needed us, what would happen to us if we were no longer being fruitful for him, if we're no longer loving him? We'd cease to be of use to him, and therefore we'd be cast off. But exactly because he does not need us means our worth to him has nothing to do with what we do. It's purely because of his love that he created us, and his love for creation never wavers. If we read the creation story, we read how after each part of creation, God saw that it was good. He created human beings and was pleased with what he had created. Now, sure, his pleasure doesn't go towards some of the things that his creation does, but it's still his creation that he is pleased with. A question that many of us battle with is, could God really love me? And the answer is absolutely. He loves you because he made you. That's why he dealt with sin and sent Jesus into the world. It was his love for his creation. Not that he needed us, but that we need him. What about worship? Does God need our worship? Well, no, he doesn't. But we need to worship him. If God needed our worship, he'd be no better than us. The very fact that he does not need our worship makes him worthy of it. If God needed worship, we would be able to manipulate him. It would give us power. And this shows in the gods of many nations, where they must constantly be appeased by gifts or by rituals. And so people think that if they get on the good side of their God, that they'll get a good crop, or they will have many children, or so on. We worship a God who does not need to be manipulated, because he wants only the best for us anyway. We worship him because of that very thing. John 5:26 says, "For as the Father has life in himself, so he granted the Son life in himself." God is love, God is life, God possesses every quality and every ability in endless measures, and he has no needs.
The splendor of the King, clothed in majesty, let all the earth rejoice, let all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide, and trembles at his voice, trembles at his voice. How great is our God, sing with me, how great is our God, and all will see how great is our God. Age to age he stands, and time is